everyone. Welcome to Thrive Thursday. I am Jen Fredericks here with Rachel Bellotti and the author of today's article, Shane Reed. And we are talking about awesome coaches, people. Shane, what inspired you to write awesome coaches, people? Those are parentheses.
First thing that comes to mind is that it didn't come across like I wanted it to in the title. No,
No, it does.
no, it's cool. Awesome people basically is I was on a recruiting trip a couple weeks ago, actually beginning this month, and just was able to reconnect with some crazy, awesome people that just happen to be coaches as well, and it was the reason I wrote it is because this is my fourth year doing it in this capacity, this role that I'm attending the event in now, and the first few times as I was learning and navigating this recruiting space, I ran into a bunch of people that I felt were just crushing the recruiting trail. Like the way they come across when I talked to them was just so awesome, and it was just cool. So I basically had all these people on a pedestal, and that's great because they're really, really cool and really, really fun, and it was a pleasure to see how they interacted and what they did. And I would definitely highlight my insecurities about my learning process and how I was going about doing it. And so I was coming at it from a deficit, certainly being like, holy crap, I don't think I'm ever going to get there. I don't feel like I'm even being a success. I didn't even know if I could, because it was like, wow, I am not like that. And I don't know if I can ever be like that on a daily or on a grind or whatever you want to call it. And so, yeah. And as I kept getting experience, and especially this year, I was able to met a really, really cool guy. And I'm like, wow, like I really, really enjoy how he went about things. And so once again, it was like that I got into the space of, oh man, I don't know if I can be good at this, because he's so good at this. At least what I saw, he's so good at this. Like, it's really awesome. But when I started going there, it was more of like, no, I value what he's doing because he's being himself. He's being authentic with himself and authentic with the way he represents what he has to offer. And so, I don't know, I was kind of able to turn the insecurities into why I was feeling the insecurities. And it kind of highlighted what I wanted more out of the situation, or more out of my recruiting trips.
What I love about what you're saying, Shane, is that what I hear is that insecurity was a trigger for you. And in this moment, you were able to take insecurity and almost like either redefine it for yourself, or say, I'm going to use this trigger that when I feel insecure, I'm actually going to notice that it's an insecurity, at least now, in me recognizing how authentic this other person is being. And it's now a reminder for me to just be authentic for myself. I have a similar situation, but different. So I was noticing myself getting really jealous of people around me. And I was like, God, how come they can have that? And like, man, it sucks. And like, I chose for myself, like, I'm actually going to use, when I catch myself being jealous, I'm going to use that to go, oh, I'm actually jealous because what they have is something that I desire. So now I'm like, oh, so that just means that it's something I want. So now I'm going to actually go over and try to get that thing. Now I'm clear on a desire. So I use jealousy to get clear on my desire instead of going into a swirl. And I hear that for insecurity to authenticity for you.
Yeah, and I love what you said there, because it doesn't it doesn't matter what it is. Like there's a million different ways you can do recruiting and life in general. But for me, yeah, the insecurity or the jealousy, I can then ask myself the question, right, why am I feeling this way? Is it something that I value, I desire, and I want more of, or is it something that's like, yeah, they're being the way they want to be, and that's cool. That's not my way. I'm going to do it my way. So.
I also love that you said that you were like, it wasn't about becoming them and like trying to be more like them. It was being like, oh, they're so good because they are leaning into their way. And so how can I lean into mine? Like the quote that you have of, I don't want to attract imposters, so I need to not be one, was like, boom. I was like, oh, that's so good. A reminder that like, you can't go out into the world and like be like everybody else. Otherwise, you're going to be totally disconnected to yourself and you're not going to actually get what you want. So.
And I love what both of you all, just said the last few minutes. And also want to acknowledge Shane for the way that you intertwine and coalesce the two coaches that you are into one. And you use your awareness and your authenticity to bring forth the program that you wish to build with your coaching with sports. And I am not the sports person, but from the stories that I hear out in the world and from what I experienced with my my young daughters and her coaches, who are also great, but they didn't really play in the space of awareness and authenticity. I truly, truly appreciate you doing that and bringing that to the world of coaching.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I am a super big believer in you get back what you put out there. So if I was going about it like trying to sell shit that I didn't have, or try to fit a person that's a square peg into a round hole, or whatever it happens to be, that would either set me back or set the program back because it wouldn't be the right fit, or it would be extremely challenging for me to maintain that show or that performance, basically, what I would be doing. And that's something that I don't want out of the people that I interact with, and that's something that I don't want out of the people that are in my program.
And it's cool that you even pull out the word imposter in your article, because we hear that across the board in all of our divisions that we service, in business, in lifestyle, and in sports, that people do suffer from this imposter syndrome where they don't feel they can be who they're saying that they are. And what's really exciting is then being able to guide them through coaching sessions or team building, whatnot, alignment sessions, to help them see that you don't have to be an imposter to do the job that you said you were going to do. You can do it authentically, the way that you navigate the world, and have just as good of an effect, if not even better.
Well, and I also love, Shane, that you always have a filter of like, what's my sustained result? So it's not just about like being able to just have these like quick hit successes. It's like, how am I going to create an operating modality for myself, an operating protocol that can sustain, that doesn't feel like I'm like, oh my gosh, here's this whole thing I have to bring with me. But I love you that you always have that filter of like, is this sustainable? How do I make it more sustainable for myself?
Cool. I would love to ask if there are any other key points that you'd like to pull out from the article, Shane, to share. And Rachel, if you have any other thoughts.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just if you're if you're a coach and you're struggling with your way, the thing that helped me figure it out, or I continually figure out every day, is asking myself the questions. Okay, if it's not this way, if I really feel crappy doing it this way, then what is it that I want, or how do I want to do it my way? And just getting clear with yourself on how you want to be a coach. There's a gazillion, infinite ways to be a coach successfully. I mean, there's, whatever. Look at any pro sports; it doesn't matter. But to ask yourself those questions, get clear on it, so that you can then represent what you believe in yourself, and and just be as successful as possible. In my opinion, being I don't know, quote unquote imposter is one of the things that I don't value. So I don't want to be it, and I don't think that that it's very valuable for anyone to operate that way. So
Cool.
I guess that's it.
Cool. Well, if you are a viewer and you are a coach, I invite you to visit our website, thrivehdc.com, and take a look at Shane's coach page and reach out to him and see how he can guide you to discovering your authentic and sustainable way to influencing yourself and others in the sporting world. Thank you, Shane. Thank you, Rachel, and we'll see all of you next Thursday.
That's good.
Bye.
Thank you.